Chapter 111, 111, Chapter 111, The Fate Gladiator, Sky-Splitting Strike, Shattering the Fate Arena. Advanced mission completed. The experience points accumulated from killing monsters during the quest period will be distributed now. Level increased. Current level LV51. Received 600 independent attribute points. 3 godhood points. Level increased. Current level LV56. Received 600 independent attribute points. 3 godhood points. These experience points. It was the experience Su Yang had obtained from killing 100,000 silver wizard and ghost soldiers, the gold general, and these 3 platinum legend powerhouses in the Fate Arena. During the advanced mission, the experience gained would be stored. But now, after he completed the advanced mission, the experience he had saved up was instantly released. He had just completed the advanced mission and unlocked the level limit, so he was directly promoted by 6 levels. He received 3,600 independent attribute points and 18 godhood points. Without the extreme growth effect of his talent, Su Yang would have been happy for a long time with more than 3,600 independent attribute points. However, with the extreme growth of his talent, he was already indifferent to these independent attributes. What really made him happy was the 18 godhood points he had obtained. Su Yang knew that it was very difficult to obtain a divine spark. This time, he only had 25 godhood points left after using the charged-up sword draw. If nothing unexpected happened, it would be very difficult for him to find another way to replenish the consumed godhood. But now, he could directly obtain godhood by leveling up. This method of obtaining godhood gave him a lot of information. 18 points of godhood. I've reached 43 godhood points, and the number of times I can use sword draw has increased again. Su Yang happily squinted his eyes and calculated the number of godhood he had. The sense of security in his heart increased explosively. After all, without revealing his destruction titan form, the sword draw was his main method of fighting against powerful enemies. Therefore, it was extremely important for him to increase the number of times he could use the accumulated power of sword draw 50,000 times. As for the killing effect of endless slaughter, there was a stacking requirement, and the disadvantage was too great. Of course, these drawbacks were nothing under the eternal effect of the Twilight Ring. At the same time, endless slaughter's slaughter status was similar to sword draw's charging status. He could also use his godhood to cancel out the prerequisites. However, compared to consuming 5 godhood points, it was enough to cancel out the requirement of 50,000 times of charging state for sword draw. 100,000 layers of slaughter status effects would cost him 10 godhood points. He could also obtain a higher slaughter status effect, but the amount of godhood he would consume would also be higher. It was a little ghostly. Therefore, for now, Su Yang, who only had a few godhood, still preferred the more cost-effective sword draw. Of course, endless slaughter's slaughter effect was also seen as a trump card. It completed 1 Fate competition. This time's Fate competition completion rating SSS. Rewards obtained. Title Fate Gladiator, Treasure Chest of Fate +1, Luck Attribute +1. Just as Su Yang was excitedly counting the number of godhood points he had accumulated, a notification from the Fate Arena rang in his ears. Title Gladiator of Fate. The Treasure Chest of Destiny. Luck Attribute +1. He didn't think that he would be able to obtain such a generous reward after completing the Fate Arena. After all, one of the rules of the Fate arena this time was designed by him, and it was beneficial to him. It was also because of this that he was able to smoothly obtain an SS rank evaluation in the competition of destiny. Tusk. I'll get the highest score and a generous reward within the forbidden rules I designed. This feeling, it's so cool. Su Yang also didn't understand how the Fate Arena's evaluation rules worked. However, he had received the highest SS rank rating in the competition of destiny, as well as a generous reward. This was real. Fate Gladiator. Type, special title. Effect, Gladiator of Fate. When you engage in a battle that is related to a competitive duel, your luck attribute will temporarily increase by 1-10 points. Su Yang first checked the title of Gladiator of Fate. It turned out that it would temporarily increase the luck attribute during battle. This made him extremely happy. And at this moment, the Fate Arena is about to collapse. As a Fate Gladiator who has completed an SSS rank Fate competition evaluation, you can choose 1. Directly exit the Fate Arena. 2. Use your power to leave a mark on the Fate Arena. You might be able to gain something unexpected. At this time, a notification rang out from the Fate Arena. At the same time, Su Yang also felt that this vast Fate Arena was constantly shaking, as if it would collapse in the next second. As for him, after understanding the information in the prompt, he thought of his two choices and pondered. Directly leaving meant that after the Fate Arena collapsed, it would disappear. And if he used his own power to leave a mark in the Fate Arena, although he did not know what would happen, he felt that it would be quite fun. Su Yang felt his current state. His basic attributes had doubled and the 3 buffs were stacked. This terrifying state of strength would disappear once the eternal twilight was over. He didn't know when he would be able to experience such strength again. Since there was still time, he should have a good time first. Su Yang quickly made a decision. He had chosen to rely on his own strength to leave his mark in the Fate Arena. Following Su Yang's choice, the Fate Arena began to shake even more violently. At the same time, Su Yang's figure also appeared in the blue planet astral world outside the Fate Arena. With the attributes of a Titan's body, he could move independently even in the starry sky. Moreover, now he had broken through to gold rank, and his basic attributes had broken through 100,000. Even without the unique attribute of the Titan body, he could still move around in the starry sky. However, he would not be as independent and relaxed as he was now with the Titan body's attributes. He looked at the Fate Arena that was shaking violently as if it was about to collapse. With the blessing of the title of Gladiator of Fate, Su Yang suddenly had a feeling. He slowly waved Heart Slayer. Hit the energy. Focus. The supreme power was concentrated on Heart Slayer. The next moment, Su Yang waved Heart Slayer and slashed in the direction of the Fate Arena. It was too difficult to open it with one slash. In an instant, the saber ray streaked across the entire starry sky. He ignored the countless gazes that were focused on him. Soon after, this blade light slashed into the Fate Arena. Boom! In the next moment, the huge Fate Arena suddenly crumbled and shattered. Chapter 112. 112. Chapter 112. Destiny's Line of Defense. Feedback from the Blue Planet. 112. Chapter 112. Destiny's Line of Defense. Feedback from the Blue Planet. Damn it, this heavenly son is actually capable of such a feat. This is the gift of fate. The wizard world was an existence that one could only look at but not ask for. I've actually obtained the blue planet. Detestable. I was planning to send silver-rank soldiers to the blue planet to massacre and create chaos, to force Heavenly Sun out of the blue planet. But now, why did it turn out like this? Heavenly Sun's luck is too good. At this moment, the experts from all realms who were looking at the blue planet were completely shocked when they saw Su Yang's blade light slashing toward the huge fate arena. In their realization, only to see that after Su Yang's blade slashed through the huge fate arena, suddenly it shattered. It turned into countless fragments that were wrapped in a mysterious white light. Then, under the guidance of the supreme power of destiny, these fragments rapidly condensed into a ring of destiny that surrounded the blue planet. The top-class experts of various worlds had extremely broad horizons, so they immediately understood the use of this destiny halo. This was the line of defense of fate. It was a line of defense outside the blue planet world. From now on, all beings outside the blue planet world had to pass through this destiny defense line if they wanted to descend on the blue planet. Otherwise, there was no way to enter the blue planet. This was equivalent to the fate of the blue planet world. You have proven that you are worthy of the title of Gladiator of Fate. Receive the gift of fate. You have built a line of defense for the blue planet. Acquired 100% control over fate defense line. The mark of your attack will forever be engraved in this line of defense of fate, existing eternally. A line of fate defense. He looked at the fragment of the fate arena in front of him, which had transformed into a halo that surrounded the blue planet world. Su Yang was also extremely shocked. He did not expect that his slash would create such a miracle. The fate defense line looked like a planet's halo from a distance. However, looking at it up close, it was more like a city wall built around the blue planet world. At the same time, Su Yang, who had absolute control over the fate defense line, clearly understood the use of this fate defense line. The destiny defense line could block all existences that wanted to descend on the blue planet world. If existences outside the blue planet world wanted to enter the blue planet world, they had to first use the destiny defense line. Of course, it could also destroy the destiny defense line. However, the destiny defense line's own defensive power was equivalent to that of a god. Moreover, once the destiny defense line could connect to the court of the blue planet world, then, as the blue planet world continued to grow stronger in the future, this line of fate defense would also continue to grow stronger. The blue planet's original consciousness has sensed the existence of the fate defense line. Blue planet's original consciousness requests to connect to the fate defense line. You have complete control over the fate defense line. Do you agree to the request of the blue planet's original consciousness? At this moment, Su Yang felt a vast, mysterious, warm and friendly power enveloping his body. The next moment, he understood that this was the power of the blue planet world's original consciousness. I agree. He did not hesitate to agree to the request of the blue planet world's original consciousness. As he agreed, he could clearly feel the cheering and jubilant expression of the consciousness of the blue planet that enveloped him. At the same time, after careful observation, Su Yang realized that the aura of the blue planet's consciousness was more similar to the consciousness of a planet. She was like an ignorant baby, but at the same time, she was a little feminine. Soon, the blue planet world's original consciousness was completely connected to the fate defense line. Su Yang also gave it secondary control rights of the fate line of defense. The blue planet world's original consciousness thanks you for everything you've done for her. You receive a gift from the blue planet world's original consciousness. Obtain 10% control of the blue planet's origin. Su Yang was slightly stunned. He did not expect that his actions would actually obtain the pants of the blue planet world's origin consciousness and obtain 10% of the control of the blue planet world's origin. This was indeed beyond his medical knowledge. This was an unexpected surprise. Originally, he had only done so because he didn't want to manage the line of defense of fate. At this time, the blue planet world's original consciousness wanted to connect to the fate defense line. Thus, he gave secondary control of the line of fate to the consciousness of the blue planet world. He would let it manage it. He didn't expect that this action would actually obtain an unexpected harvest. As expected, doing more good deeds would be rewarded. Su Yang could not help but check the information on the control of the blue planet world's origin. A blue planet world origin. A degree of control, 10%. Effect 1. You have 10% of the world's interference authority as long as it does not involve core issues such as the survival of the world's origin. Effect 2. When you are in a world with authority, you will receive a full bonus from the origin of the event. 10% control of the world's origin, added as 1. Overall strength increased by 10. 2. Immune to all physical attacks and all lethal attacks. Cause and effect, fate, etc. Order rule attack. 3. You can make slight adjustments to the rules of order in the world according to your own requirements. You can also choose a certain range as your own territory. Introduction. The blue planet world's original consciousness that you were born with has given you authority and full power. Wow! The blue planet world's original consciousness is really generous. With 10% control authority, as long as I'm within the blue planet world, I can always receive these powerful status bonuses. After understanding the information about the authority of the blue planet world's origin, Su Yang couldn't help but feel that he was fighting cancer. However, he then sighed. After all, with his current strength, in the area where the blue planet world was, there seemed to be nothing that could hurt him. Therefore, the 10% control of the blue planet world's origin, which gave all kinds of powerful bonuses, was basically not needed for the time being. However, this was also the good intention of the blue planet world's origin consciousness. Moreover, Su Yang was very optimistic about the authority to control the origin of the blue planet world. Then Su Yang looked in the direction of the fate line of defense. His body flickered, and he arrived on the wall of the fate defense line. He began to observe curiously. After understanding the fate line of defense, his gaze swept past the area outside. The otherworldly army that had been stationed all over the void had disappeared without a trace. However, Su Yang could still sense it. Outside the blue planet's astral world, there were many more hidden existences with even more terrifying strength. With the help of the myriad world teleportation portal and the attributes of the Shadow Walker, he had a keen sense of space and shadow. He could easily sense dozens of existences emitting terrifying auras hiding in the void. Diamond-grade half-body, in fact, it might even be a god. Su Yang muttered to himself with a smile as he walked to the edge of the fate line of defense. And as he did this, in an instant, countless diamond-ranked halflings were hiding in the void. Even the god-level powerhouses who were watching the scene were eager to make a move. However, Su Yang had only reached the edge of the line of fate He controlled the distance and didn't step out of the line of fate. He was very clear that his current strength was not enough to make him court death like this. However, he remembered that he was still in the eternal dusk state. He did not want to leave so easily when he saw those fellows hiding in the void beyond the line of defense of fate. Thus he held Heart Slayer and instantly slashed a few times. Every strike, there was an expert hiding in the void in the direction of each slash. Chapter 113, 113, Chapter 113, A Disguised Mage, the Dominator of Shadow. Damn it! How is that possible? Exposed, he can discover us. This blade light can actually hurt me. Heavenly Son, this guy is really terrifying. It's all right, it's all right. Although it's powerful, it only managed to hurt me a little. But he's only just reached gold rank, yet he's already able to cross 2 ranks and injure us. As Su Yang brandished dozens of blade auras, he slashed down. A portion of the diamond demigods hiding in the void were attacked before they could react. He couldn't help but look at Su Yang, who was standing on the line of defense of fate, as if he was passing by Wubai town. However, these powerhouses also knew that as long as Su Yang didn't step out of the line of defense of fate, they couldn't do anything to him for the time being. Thus, all of them flickered, and the experts hidden in the air soon disappeared. However, Su Yang knew that they must not have gone far. They were still in the dark, spying on him. HMPH. He snorted coldly and turned to leave. He did not use the myriad world teleportation formation. After all, there were so many eyes paying attention to this place at all times. He could not expose the ability of the myriad world teleportation formation. Moreover, he now had the authority to control the origin of the Blue Planet world. Within the Blue Planet world, he did not need to use the myriad world teleportation array at all. With just a thought, the crushed stone could reach any location on the Blue Planet. Therefore, in the blink of an eye, he had returned to the villa estate in Rock City, where he lived. After returning to the villa, Su Yang planned to take a shower first to relieve the physical and mental fatigue after the battle. After that, he checked the skills and level information he had plundered from the 3 platinum legendary powerhouses who had been killed. In the end, he would only open the treasure chest of fate after he was fully prepared. When he returned to the Blue Planet Villa and took a shower, what happened in the Blue Planet astral world was also observed and recorded by the few people who had fought on the Blue Planet with top-of-the-line equipment. When the upper echelons of the various countries on the Blue Planet learned of what had happened in the astral plane, they were all shocked. What did you just say? The otherworldly army stationed outside the Blue Planet's astral world has all retreated. Didn't they just appear yesterday? Why are they retreating today? The officials of the various countries who had just received the news were all at a loss. They couldn't understand why the foreign races would make such a big move. Yesterday, they had just arrived outside the Blue Planet and set up camp, threatening and sealing off the Blue Planet. Today, they had suddenly retreated and disappeared. However, the officials of the various countries soon learned about the situation. Through the top-of-the-line equipment, they could see the huge fate arena standing in the astral world. However, the Blue Planet's humans had just joined heaven and were not very knowledgeable, so they did not recognize the fate arena. Thus, just as they were all struggling to figure out what this massive building that had suddenly appeared was, suddenly he noticed Su Yang's figure appearing beside the huge building. Then they saw Su Yang cut the building into pieces with one slash. Su Yang's blade not only shocked the powerhouses from all realms who were paying attention to this place. The officials of the various countries on the blue planet were also shocked. At this moment, they finally realized the terrifying strength that a top powerhouse like Heavenly Sun possessed. A Heavenly Sun, he's too strong. The disappearance of the alien army must be related to him. Amazing. I thought Heavenly Sun alone would be useless against so many alien races. I didn't expect what happened today to be so unexpected. Ha ha ha. After the shock, the various countries' government officials were extremely excited. That was because the alien army stationed outside the blue planet, which they had been worried about, had all retreated. What's that halo? It looks very powerful. General Shangyuan should have collected and sorted out the information about the secret dungeon to be handed to Heavenly Sun, right? Well, I'll ask him to ask later. The Dragon Kingdom's top officials were discussing excitedly after learning that the outside army stationed outside the blue planet had retreated and disappeared because of Heavenly Sun. Then they also noticed the Fate defense line that had appeared on the outskirts of the blue planet world, and could not help but be curious about the situation inside. Su Yang sighed. He took a comfortable hot shower to wash away his fatigue. He was wearing a full set of immortal cultivation clothes. He walked to the backyard of the villa and laid down on a recliner. With Little Purple's help, he released the killing intent he had accumulated in his heart and began to check the level and skills he had obtained from killing the 3 platinum powerhouses. After some thought, he first checked the skills he had obtained from Kai Plunder. A killing terminology. Level platinum. Type active spell. Effect 1. The power of spells is increased by 200%. Effect 2. You are very proficient in spells. You can create new spells. A platinum skill similar to Gale Saber Technique and Blazing Saber Technique. But this should be a magic-type skill. He obtained a magic skill, and I think I can use it too. Su Yang gently touched his chin and whispered. Although his profession was an exclusive one, void severing. However, that didn't mean that he couldn't use skills outside of his class. He could even use magic skills. Moreover, his intelligence attribute had also reached over 100,000 points. He could use magic skills freely. He couldn't find it. This was a platinum magic skill. If he were the one using it, he would not be able to enhance the power of his spells like those magic professionals. But it was not bad to have an additional platinum magic skill. Perhaps I can disguise myself as a mage in the future. Su Yang gently touched his chin and couldn't help but think in his heart. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Not only was its level not low, but it was also very high. Therefore, he could completely disguise himself as a wizard with a graded killing spell. Thinking of this, Su Yang squinted his eyes. Then a fireball appeared in his sight. Then he used lightning, wind blade, ice arrow, and other magic skills easily. The level of the killing spell was too high. He simply used it and created a variety of lower-level magic skills. Not bad, Su Yang said with a smile after trying out the killing techniques. Although the harvest of the killing spell technique did not directly increase his strength, it did strengthen his skills and methods. Then he looked at the 2-level abilities he had obtained. Shadow level, initial contact with the shadow domain, has extraordinary comprehension in the shadow domain. Your Shadow Walker attributes have been upgraded to Shadow Lord. Shadow Dominator, you are the dominator of the shadow domain. Not only can you freely enter the shadow plane, but you can also control the power and abilities of the shadow domain. Chapter 114, 114, Chapter 114, Sensing a Danger. Is it a blessing or a curse? The shadow level is also considered a high level. Furthermore, it allowed my shadow walker to advance to the shadow dominator. Su Yang squinted his eyes and carefully sensed the shadow plane around him. Indeed, his senses were much sharper than when he was a shadow walker. At the same time, he could also use and control the power of the shadow plane. However, the power of shadow didn't suit Su Yang's style. He preferred a rank power that directly enhanced his strength, like the destruction level or the fire level, or a rank like the eternal rank, which had special and powerful auxiliary abilities. Therefore, after understanding the information about the shadow's rank, his eyes were filled with curiosity and anticipation as he looked at the level of foresight. The precognitive level. Initial contact with the precognitive domain has extraordinary comprehension in the precognitive domain. Acquired special ability, danger sense. Danger sense. You can sense the information that might threaten you in the near future and have a preliminary prediction of the corresponding information. Danger sense. Su Yang's eyes widened. He was quite interested in this ability. He had long wanted to obtain the ability to predict or calculate what might happen in the future. The existence of the precognitive level temporarily satisfied his thoughts. However, the level of premonition that had only progressed by 1% did not give him the ability to sense danger, which did not quite match his tone. Su Yang wanted to obtain the kind of prediction ability that could tell that you would be in danger today. But danger sense, it's still okay. He also knew that it was impossible for everything to be completely in line with his wishes, except for the treasure chest. But he had only obtained one wish come true treasure chest so far. He did not know when he would be able to obtain it again. Su Yang sighed and took out the treasure chest of fate. However, just as he was thinking about whether he should open the treasure chest directly, he suddenly noticed a private message on the forum. After opening it, he found that it was a message from Shangyuan Cheng. Shangyuan Cheng had sent him a lot of messages, so he simply scanned through them. Bro Tianyang, this are the information of the secret places and dungeons that our Dragon Kingdom has discovered and are currently exploring. Take a look. These secret places and dungeons are all open to you. Also, these 3 million gold coins are what the Dragon Kingdom can afford for the time being to support you. These are the gold tier long saber and 12 silver tier weapons that the Dragon Kingdom collected. Su Yang was speechless. Then he roughly looked at the information of the secret dungeons. They basically could not meet his current needs. After Heaven landed on the blue planet, there would be many secret dungeons. However, the newly appeared secret plane dungeons were basically secret plane dungeons that matched the current level of professionals in the blue planet world. As time passed, various medium, large, and special secret plane dungeons would gradually appear. Su Yang's current strength had far exceeded the current level of the blue planet. Therefore, for the time being in these secret dungeons, whether it was the difficulty level or the monster's strength, the harvest, etc., did not meet his requirements. However, he also knew that Su Yang was doing this out of concern for him. Therefore, he didn't refuse. In the future, when he was bored, he could go to a secret dungeon with a good environment for a vacation. As for the 3 million gold coins, he thought about it and accepted it. After that, he equipped his men with the gold-level long saber. As for the silver-level status, he returned it to Shangyuan Cheng. This was because, as he had advanced to gold, Heart Slayer had also reached gold, and silver equipment was no longer of much use to him. After that, Su Yang and Shangyuan Cheng chatted for a while. Shangyuan Cheng also took the opportunity to ask about the Fate defense line that had suddenly appeared outside the blue planet. Su Yang explained briefly and said, "The Fate line of defense also needs someone to guard it. I'll give you level 4 authority later. When the time comes, the Dragon Kingdom can arrange for some soldiers to guard the Fate line." Shangyuan Cheng had just received the information about the line of defense of Fate from Su Yang. Before he could say anything, he saw another message from Su Yang. After being stunned for a moment, he was overjoyed. "All right, Brother Tianyang. Don't worry, we'll definitely help you guard this Fate line of defense." "Yes." Su Yang nodded. Then he directly gave Shangyuan Cheng level 4 access to the Fate defense line. This way, he could bring people into the Fate defense line and guard it. After that, they exchanged a few more words before ending the private chat. Su Yang came back to his senses. Looking at the gold rank long blade and 3 million gold coins he had obtained, he smiled and put it aside for the time being, not paying much attention. After all, with his current strength and the tens of millions of gold coins he could continue. This amount of gold coins and equipment could no longer attract his interest. Su Yang collected his thoughts and looked at the treasure chest of destiny. At that moment, he suddenly felt his right eyelid twitching a few times. Twitching right eye, Su Yang was stunned. Is it a blessing or a curse? F***CK. Left eye, the right eye is jumping. My luck attribute is so high. If I open the treasure chest of fate, will there be a calamity? Su Yang was a little confused. His current luck attribute had reached 22 points. With such high luck, he opened a lucky treasure chest. He had actually triggered his ability to sense danger. He was a little suspicious that there was a problem with his danger sense. However, after carefully sensing his danger perception, there was no problem at all. At the same time, his right eyelid twitched a few more times. Su Yang's expression suddenly became serious. That is, if there is no problem with his danger detection ability. In that case, he might be able to obtain something incredible from the treasure chest of fate this time. Who tilde? Su Yang took a deep breath. I've opened so many treasure chests, but I'm still a little nervous this time, he chuckled. He squinted his eyes and looked at the treasure chest of fate in front of him. He pondered for a moment. Then he called Heart Slayer over. Heart Slayer walked over and saw the treasure chest in front of Su Yang. Her bright eyes flashed with a helpless look. She also knew why Su Yang had called her over. Su Yang chuckled and waved at Heart Slayer. After that, he followed his usual routine. First, he rubbed his lucky stars on Heart Slayer's chest, even though his luck attribute was already very high. However, the opening ceremony still had to be done. Everything was ready. Su Yang took a deep breath and opened the chest of destiny without any hesitation. Opening treasure chest of destiny. Received destiny-specific item coin of destiny. Chapter 115, 115, Chapter 115, Coin of Destiny. Blessing and disaster coexist. Supreme destiny. And just this, looking at the coin of destiny that came out of the treasure chest of destiny, Su Yang was slightly stunned. He had thought that the thing that could make his right eyelid twitch several times with his danger sense ability would be something powerful. Unexpectedly, it was just a coin. However, the coin of destiny. Su Yang quickly gathered his thoughts and steadied his mind. He no longer looked down on this coin of fate that looked no different from an ordinary coin. Using the delusion breaker eye, he quickly checked the information on the coin of destiny. A coin of destiny. Type, exclusive to fate. Effect, when a coin is flicked, good fortune comes from the front and bad luck comes from the back. Restrictions, exclusive to fate, not affected by any luck attribute. Introduction, coin of fate, blessing and disaster coexist. Good fortune comes from the front, but disaster comes from the back. Su Yang's eyes narrowed as he murmured softly, "Good fortune, or disaster, half and half. It's not affected by the luck attribute. This. Doesn't that mean that my high luck has no effect on the coin?" Su Yang was speechless. He had such a high luck attribute, yet he was unable to affect the coin. This made him feel a little uncomfortable. However, on second thought, this coin of destiny was a supreme tool exclusive to fate, so it was understandable that it had such restrictions. I just don't know what blessings and disasters are like. I don't know if it's worth it. Su Yang picked up the coin of fate and looked at it. The front of the coin was engraved with an extremely detailed auspicious bowl. On the other side of the coin, there were detailed drawings of the lightning tribulation and disaster. One only needed to look at these pictures to understand the meaning within. At this moment, Su Yang had an inexplicable impulse to toss the coin of fate in his hand. However, he still held back. After all, he could still remember the feeling of danger and the twitching of his right eyelid. Perhaps it was related to the coin of destiny. Could it be I flicked the coin of fate, it was the reverse side, and then disaster came? Su Yang looked at the coin of destiny in his hand and couldn't help but think. Perhaps there was really such a possibility. He was very sure of this. But Su Yang thought of the words in the introduction. This was the supreme fate, leaving the possibility of transcendence for all living beings. He couldn't help but feel impulsive again. He really wanted to see what the possibility of transcendence, that the supreme fate left for all living beings was. Toss, still not throwing. At this moment, Su Yang's heart was very tangled. Then he began to think about the life-saving cards he had now. Heart Slayer had the effect of still alive. Death immunity, immune to all fatal effects. The eternal status could extend one's life for a second. Dusk Seal, a chance to revive. Rebirth was a skill that allowed him to revive 3 times. Resurrect on the spot, ignore any silk mark for 10 times, and quickly resurrect on the spot. After a simple calculation, Su Yang realized that he already had 14 netherworlds. If the effect of the everlasting state could be maintained for 1 second, which counted as a life, 1% of the everlasting state could be maintained for 10 times. In other words, he now had almost 24 lives. He needed to kill him at least 24 times before he could truly kill him. Tusk. I didn't expect that I've already accumulated so many life-saving means. Even Su Yang himself was moved by this calculation. 24 lives, it should not be a problem to waste them once. Su Yang's eyes flickered as he rubbed the coin of destiny in his hand and felt the patterns on both sides of the coin. He quickly made a decision. However, he didn't intend to toss the coin of fate in his villa. After all, if the opposite side really happened and triggered the disaster effect, it would be terrible if the villa area, Heart Slayer, and Spirit were implicated. After thinking for a while, Su Yang simply notified Heart Slayer and the others. Then his figure flashed and he arrived at a desert area on the blue planet. With the authority to control the origin of the blue planet world, he could move around freely on the blue planet according to his will. Su Yang's appearance quickly disturbed these creatures who were living in the desert. However, these monsters were too weak. Feeling the faint aura coming from Su Yang's body, he was so scared that he immediately fled. Su Yang didn't care much about this. His gaze was now completely focused on the coin of destiny in his hand. Ahoo! He took a deep breath. Looking at the coin of fate in his hand, Su Yang flicked it up with his thumb. Ding! The coin of fate was flicked into the air, making a crisp sound. Su Yang's eyes were fixed on the coin of fate that was constantly spinning in the air. Just as he was paying attention, soon the coin of destiny fell from the sky and landed on the killed target. Su Yang looked over. It was the front. Ahoo! His nervous heart slowly let out a sigh of relief. And at this moment, as the coin of fate bounced to the front, all of a sudden, a supreme and mysterious power enveloped him. This was the power of the supreme fate. Su Yang only felt that he was completely enveloped by this mysterious and profound supreme power of fate. His entire body seemed to be emitting a golden light. Then he saw golden lines that looked like a messy net wrapping around his body. His eyes were focused on the golden threads. He soon knew what these golden threads were. This was actually the trajectory of fate, or perhaps they were called threads of fate. No matter what it was, regardless of race, no matter what kind of existence it was, all of them had traces of fate, which were also known as the threads of fate. The threads of fate weaved the fate of all living beings. And now, when Su Yang flicked the coin of destiny, it turned to the front. The Supreme Fate General had taken the initiative to cut some fate threads for him. Under the mysterious power of the Supreme Fate, the threads of fate that were wrapped around Su Yang were cut off. As these threads of fate were cut, Su Yang's body and mind felt relaxed and free. However, this feeling disappeared very quickly. At the same time, the power of the Supreme Destiny left quietly. Is this the sliver of possibility of transcendence that the Supreme Fate has given to all living beings? Su Yang's eyes lit up as he murmured softly. As some of his threads of fate were cut off, he also peeked at some information about transcendence. If he wanted to transcend, he first had to break free from the fate threads that covered his entire body. And to break free from fate, one would have to face the Supreme Fate. Of course, other than forcefully breaking free, one could also do what Su Yang did just now, and let the Supreme Fate descend to help you cut some of the fate threads. However, this required a destiny-specific item, like the coin of destiny. We've struck it rich. After understanding this information, Su Yang exclaimed in excitement. Of course, transcending was definitely not as simple as breaking free from fate. There were also some other key conditions that needed to be met. Regardless, Su Yang had not figured it out yet. However, he knew that he, who had completed the mythical advanced mission, would definitely meet one of the most important conditions in the future. He picked up the coin of fate. Su Yang rubbed his hands together and wondered if he should play it again. Just this one time, he was a little addicted. Chapter 116, 116, Chapter 116, Rebirth After Disaster, the Undead Clan in Danger. Someone has touched the Supreme Fate. How is this possible? While Su Yang was struggling in Lucky Country, the goddess of luck, who was leisurely eating pastries, seemed to have sensed something, and her eyes revealed a shocked look. Although she was the luck goddess, she had only obtained anything from the supreme fate and could use some of the power of fate. At the same time, as the luck goddess, she had no chance of transcending. It was also because of this that she was not interested in Su Yang, who had completed the advancement of myth. And just now, he had sensed that the power of the supreme fate had been touched. Although it was very weak, compared to the entire supreme destiny, it was so weak that it almost didn't exist. However, she was the goddess of fortune, and she was extremely sensitive to any changes in the supreme fate. Heavenly Son, it's actually him. The luck goddess couldn't help but make some calculations. However, she quickly stopped. Forget it, I don't care anymore. After some thought, she picked up the pastry and continued eating. However, her trembling hands were enough to indicate that she was not calm. She knew that Heavenly Son was an existence that had completed the mythical advancement mission. But now, there was actually an opportunity to touch the supreme fate. As the goddess of luck, she was very clear what this meant. Let's continue. I have 24 lives anyway. Without much hesitation, Su Yang made up his mind and threw the coin of fate again. The coin of fate was once again tossed into the air. He quickly turned around and landed on the ground. Vrunte. Su Yang laughed in excitement. The mysterious power of the supreme destiny descended once more, cutting some of the threads of destiny for him. Who? Even if the coin of destiny is not affected by my luck attribute, my own luck is still very good. Su Yang picked up the coin of fate again and smiled as he muttered to himself. It had to be said that flicking the coin of destiny was really addictive. Therefore, he didn't hesitate this time and directly threw the coin into the air again. Ding! A crisp sound was heard. Then the coin of fate fell. In Su Yang's realization, the coin of destiny this time was actually displayed on the reverse side. WTF! Before he could react, a lightning tribulation suddenly appeared in the sky and struck down. Su Yang was also turned into ashes. Ho-hoed! In the desert, a gentle breeze blew. It blew away a pair of ashes next to a coin. However, as the ashes were being blown away by Feng, a figure condensed out of the void. He appeared next to the coin. Who tilde? Is this the feeling of death? Su Yang let out a breath. He recalled the feeling of being turned into ashes by the sudden heavenly tribulation just now. It seemed like he didn't feel anything. All of a sudden, his consciousness and thoughts fell into silence. However, with the ability to resurrect, his dying thoughts were instantly restored. His entire person had come back to life. The effect of the accumulated eternal status actually has no effect on the coin of destiny's heavenly tribulation. Su Yang carefully experienced the changes after his death and sighed. The coin of destiny's power of the heavenly tribulation could only be offset by the true number of resurrections. As for the eternal stratum, which could stop the state and help him block an attack that he couldn't resist, perhaps it could help him. However, in the face of such a heavenly tribulation of supreme fate, it was of no use. This way, Su Yang's original estimate of 24 lives would be reduced by 10. There were only 14 fish left, and just now he had already used one. Now he only had 13 lives left. Although the coin of destiny is good, it's still somewhat of a waste of life. Su Yang picked up the coin of fate and rubbed the patterns on the front and back of the coin a few times. It was able to make the supreme fate descend and actively cut off some of the threads of fate. This was an unimaginable opportunity. However, the opportunity and the heavenly tribulation accompanied each other. If he wasn't careful, he would be turned into ashes by the heavenly tribulation. He had to have enough revivals in order to have enough confidence to flick this coin of destiny. I still have 13 lives left. It's far from enough. Su Yang checked the number of times he could be resurrected and pondered silently in his heart. Previously, the two descent of the supreme fate had cut off those threads of fate for him. He estimated that it took up about 1,000th of the total number of threads of fate covering his body. In other words, if Su Yang wanted to rely on the coin of destiny to cut the fate threads for him through the supreme fate, he would have to use the coin of destiny. It would require at least 2,000 revivals, or even more. Not necessarily. As long as I cut off half of the threads of fate that are covering my body, I'll be able to break free from fate even more easily if I have enough strength. Su Yang thought to himself. However, if one wanted to achieve the power to forcefully break free from fate, one had to be at least a god-level existence. He was only at the gold level, and above that there were still two levels, platinum and diamond, and then god. However, Su Yang felt that with his speed of growth, it wouldn't be too long. Moreover, he still had 9 upgrade cards that he had yet to use. At present, he was already at level 56. He just needed to level up 5 more levels and then use the 9 upgrade cards to force an upgrade. Soon, he would reach the upper limit of gold rank. At that time, he would not be far from platinum grade. I still need time to grow my strength. During this period, I need to obtain more chances of resurrection. After thinking about this, Su Yang held the coin of destiny in his hand, and his eyes flickered. The only thing that could allow him to revive more times in a short period of time was the special ability given by the undead race, rebirth. For an undead, one rebirth meant one life. Originally, there were 10 times of revivals on the spot. Su Yang wasn't in a hurry to get more resurrection abilities or items. But now, faced with the temptation of the coin of destiny, he knew that he had to find the undead race and have a good chat. He put away the coin of fate and didn't dare to use it again. After all, he had only resurrected 13 times. Even if the next 13 times were all positive, the number of threads of fate that could be cut off was not much compared to the number of threads of fate that covered his entire body. Moreover, it was impossible for him to face her head on all 13 times. Moreover, Su Yang would definitely have to save some of his revival chances to save his life. It was impossible for him to spend all of them on this coin of destiny. In a flash, Su Yang returned to the villa. "Bro, are you all right?" "Master, it's great that you're fine." Meow tilde. When Heartslayer saw Su Yang's figure appear, he walked over with a worried look. In that instant, she had experienced destruction and rebirth because of the existence of the natal contract. At that moment, the power of the heavenly tribulation not only fell on Su Yang's body, but it also spread to the side of the Heartslayer through the natal contract. The blade of Heartslayer had also experienced shattering and reconstruction. Little Zai was Su Yang's contracted pet. Although he wasn't directly affected at that moment, he suddenly panicked. He felt Su Yang's death and was extremely frightened. As for Ling and undead skeleton mage, they were only sealed and subdued in magic cards, similar to servants. Therefore, they didn't feel it too much. However, they were terrified by the reactions of Heartslayer and Little Zai. After all, their fates were already bound to Su Yang. If anything happened to Su Yang, they would not know what to do. Chapter 117. 117, Chapter 117. The Powerful Undead Clan. The Preparations Before the Long Journey. Don't worry, I'm fine. Su Yang's heart was slightly warmed by the concern and worry of others. He said with a relaxed smile. After confirming that Su Yang was indeed fine, Heart Slayer, Little Purple, Ling, and the others heaved a sigh of relief. Zhu Ting, do you still remember the location of the Netherworld? Su Yang asked the undead skeleton mage. I know, are you going to the Netherworld? However, you are a body of God. Once you enter, you will be discovered very quickly. The spirit soul in the skeleton's mind flickered for a moment before it spoke quickly. Yes. Su Yang nodded. At the same time, he also understood the problem Zhu Ting was talking about. However, he had the ability to disguise himself and was at the level of death. Perhaps he could use this ability to disguise himself as an undead creature. With his death level, he would not be easily discovered. Thus, he thought for a moment and looked at Zhu Ting's body. Then he activated his disguise ability, and his body quickly changed. Soon, it became a brand new skeleton of the undead race. At the same time, Su Yang also activated the title of Undead Lord given by the level of death. In an instant, he had turned into a skeleton of the undead clan, and his entire body exuded an extremely dense aura of death. Zhu Ting, how is it now? Can you still see the difference between me and the undead? At this moment, the empty eyes on Su Yang's skull flickered with exuberant soul fire. The skeleton's chin opened and closed as it spoke. This is too amazing. You're more like an undead than I am. However, Master, the undead skeleton that you've transformed into doesn't match the aura of death that you're emitting. After seeing Su Yang's undead skeleton form, Zhu Ting's jaw almost fell off. After hearing Su Yang's words, she quickly held her chin and exclaimed. Heart Slayer didn't react to Su Yang's change. After all, she had been following Su Yang for a long time, so she knew him very well. Therefore, no matter what Su Yang had become, as long as the connection of the natal contract was still there, she would not be surprised. Little Zai was only slightly surprised when Su Yang suddenly changed into this appearance. It did not expect its master to have such an ability. As for Ling, she was truly shocked. Looking at Su Yang, who had turned into a skeleton of the undead race, she was extremely surprised. At the same time, she was also secretly glad that she had not followed the wrong person. Her future was promising. Does the skeleton clan not match my current death aura? After hearing Zhu Ting's words, Su Yang pondered for a moment and understood. At this moment, with the title of Undead Lord given by the death status, the pressure of his death aura far exceeded that of ordinary undead skeletons. It seems that I have to transform into a more powerful spirit type. Su Yang thought to himself. Master, I once saw the image of the ancient skeleton king in a secret realm of death. You can change into its appearance. This way, the death aura you possess will match. Zhu Ting said as he looked at Su Yang, who was deep in thought. Then, as she waved her skeleton arm, an image condensed by necromancy showed the figure of the skeleton king. All right. Looking at the image condensed in the Zhu Ting, Su Yang's face lit up. Then, his skeleton form changed again. After a while, a skeleton that was stronger than an ordinary skeleton appeared. Its entire body was covered in hard bones, like heavy armor. The skull was also surrounded by bones, forming an extremely hard skull helmet. His eyes were burning with blazing soul fire, coupled with the title of Undead Lord, which had the level of death. At that moment, he was the Skeleton King. Not bad. I am the Skeleton King now. Su Yang looked at his strong skeleton body and nodded in satisfaction. After experiencing the form of the Skeleton King, Su Yang left his disguise and returned to his original appearance. The disguising ability, coupled with the title of Undead Lord given by the level of death, is really good. Su Yang nodded in satisfaction. He then looked at the undead mage and asked, Zhu Ting, tell me about the netherworld you're in. Tell me about the general situation, especially the experts you need to pay attention to. Yes, Master. The undead world I'm in has many regions. My strength is too low, so I'm not sure how many powerful undead powerhouses there are. After hearing Su Yang's question, Zhu Ting's skeletal head pondered for a moment before spreading out his hands and saying. Then he added, However, I know the general situation of the area where I was born. Can I tell you that? Yes. Su Yang nodded. The area I'm in has a divine tier undead lord, 3 demigod tier undead lords, 17 legendary undead lords, and hundreds of gold undead lords. A silver undead is not qualified to be a lord. Zhu Ting roughly said. God-level undead rulers. There are also 3 semigod undead lords. Su Yang squinted his eyes. He was a little surprised. He didn't expect that there would be a god and 3 demigods in just one area of the netherworld. The netherworld was indeed worthy of being the big realm in heaven. It seems that even with the disguising ability and the title of Undead Lord, I still have to be careful. Su Yang thought to himself. However, he was not too nervous. After all, Su Yang's purpose of going to the netherworld this time was to gain more revivals. He wasn't going to challenge the undead demigods and gods. Therefore, as long as they didn't take the initiative to seek death, they only needed to find those undead below gold rank and kill them. However, this was the first time he had stepped out of the blue planet. The moment he left the blue planet, there wouldn't be any protection rules for the new district like in heaven. Once Heavenly Son's identity was exposed, it would definitely attract all sorts of deity-level powerhouses to attack him. Even with the Infinite World's teleportation portal, he could return to the blue planet in time as long as he reacted quickly. However, he couldn't underestimate them because of this. Perhaps there were some strange abilities or strange props that could restrain the ability of the myriad world teleportation formation. Therefore, he still had to be cautious. Caution, mori caution. After that, Su Yang obtained the location of the netherworld from the Zhu Ting. The location information was very specific, as it went to the area where the Zhu Ting was born in the netherworld. After obtaining the location information of the netherworld, Su Yang used the myriad world teleportation formation to sense it, and was very sure. As long as he wanted to, he could activate the spatial teleportation array at any time and directly reach the netherworld. However, he did not move for the time being. After all, it was his first time going on a long journey, so he had to be well prepared. Moreover, he was indeed a little tired from the continuous elven slaughter, especially after the commotion they had just experienced. He might not have felt anything then, but now that he thought about it carefully, he had a different feeling for some reason. Therefore, Su Yang decided to rest and relax for 2 or 3 days before heading to the netherworld. Coincidentally, there was a large open-air swimming pool in the villa's courtyard. So Su Yang took Heart Slayer, Ling, and Little Zai to the swimming pool and played for a while. When he was a little tired, he lay down on the recliner by the swimming pool. The spirit turned into a hard-working maid and prepared all kinds of delicious cold drinks for him. Originally, Zhu Ting, the skeleton mage of the undead clan, also wanted to use his magic to make some delicious undead food for Su Yang. However, before she could do anything, Su Yang rejected her. Just like that, after a day of comfortable rest. The next day, early in the morning, Su Yang had already started to count the gains he had obtained from the Fate Arena. Chapter 118, 118, Chapter 118, 1 billion gold coins, Blade Intent Upgrade, Thunder Blade Technique. After having a simple meal made by Ling, he was finally done. Su Yang lay down on the recliner and took out a pile of space rings. These were all his gains from the Fate Arena. Now, since he was free, he could check it out. He had to sort out all the gold coins first. As Su Yang's hands tidied up, the smile on his face grew wider. When he finished sorting out his gold coins, he couldn't help but laugh. This was because the number of gold coins he had earned this time was far beyond his imagination. There were more than 1 billion gold coins. He had worked so hard to save up 80 million gold coins, not even 100 million. He did not expect to obtain more than 1 billion gold coins from the resources plundered from 3 legendary and 16 gold-tier experts, as well as 100,000 silver-tier otherworld soldiers. Su Yang gathered all the gold coins he had. Gold coins, 1,113,245,120. 1.1 billion gold coins. Looking at the number of gold coins he had now, Su Yang's smile never stopped. After being excited about a while, he calmed down and checked his current level. Level Destruction 1%, Eternity 1.01%, Fire 1%, Death 1%, Shadow 1%, Foresight 1%. Su Yang planned to use his ability to swallow gold to improve his own level. However, he recalled the time when he used the gold-devouring ability to increase the congealing degree of the eternal stratum. After spending 100,000 gold coins, the condensation of the permanent status only increased by 0.01%. In other words, 1 billion gold coins could almost increase the eternal status to 100%. But now he had 6 levels. F***CK. Su Yang couldn't help but roar softly. After doing the calculations, he realized that he was still a poor man. However, he had overlooked the fact that he was only at gold rank and already had 6 ranks, all of which were high. Many platinum-ranked legends did not even have a status. However, he didn't need to just keep it, and he wouldn't make his own money. Su Yang touched his chin and thought about it. He felt that it would be better to spend some money. Since he was going to spend money, he would definitely have to spend money on things that could help him enter the netherworld, such as levels or other abilities. After carefully thinking about it, Su Yang looked at his Blade Intent Proficiency. Blade Intent Proficiency. Raging Fire Sword Intent 100%, Gale Sword Intent 85%, Thunder Sword Intent 34%, Water Sword Intent 26%. He didn't plan to increase his level for the time being. His level rank ability was too high for him. Although it was helpful, it was not very suitable for him who was now a gold rank. As far as he knew, the main function of the power of a level was related to the condensation of the body of a god starting from platinum. Thus, he decided to increase his Blade Intent Proficiency first. After all, his Raging Inferno blade technique with supreme divine flames was so famous that almost everyone in the 10,000 realms of heaven knew it. After leaving the blue planet, he definitely couldn't use it easily. Therefore, he decided to increase the proficiency of his other blade intense as his main conventional attack method when he traveled the 10,000 worlds of the heaven. The first one would definitely be his favorite Gale blade intent. Now the proficiency of Gale blade intent had also reached 85%. With a slight improvement, it would be perfected. After that, he planned to improve his lightning blade intent. Since he couldn't use the blazing blade technique that was fused with the supreme divine flames, he would use the Gale and Thunderbolt as his main fighting techniques. Previously, he had spent 100,000 gold coins to increase the proficiency of Gale blade intent by 3%. But now, the proficiency of Gale blade intent had reached 85%, and he was still 15% away. It was just right. He had spent 500,000 gold coins to increase the mastery of Gale blade intent to 100%. The proficiency of Gale blade intent has greatly increased. Touching Gale level information. The proficiency of Gale blade intent has reached 100%. Initial contact with Gale level 0.01%. Gale level. It seems that there's no opportunity like the supreme divine flame. After the completion of the Gale blade intent, the condensation of the Gale level is only 0.01%. It doesn't even have the ability to be given by the level. It seems that only when one's level of condensation has reached 1% can one be qualified to be given an ability or title. Su Yang squinted his eyes and thought to himself. However, the completion of the Gale blade intent had increased the power of his Gale blade technique to a certain extent after obtaining Gale rank. He was very satisfied with this. Then he looked at the Thunder blade intent. He directly spent more than 2.2 million gold coins to increase his Thunder blade intent's proficiency to 100%. Thunder sword intent proficiency increased greatly. Thunder slash skill level increased. Thunder slash skill has reached level 10. Comprehended a new ability, Thunder blade technique platinum. Previously, the proficiency of the Thunder blade intent was too low, and he had only comprehended the Thunder slash skill on his own. And now, as he devoured metal, his proficiency in the Thunder sword intent was rapidly increasing, and so was his Thunder slash. Soon, Su Yang mastered a new platinum-grade blade technique, the Thunder blade technique. Moreover, the proficiency of his Thunder blade intent had not ended yet. Thunder sword intent proficiency increased greatly. Touching the information of Thunder level, a Thunder sword intent proficiency has reached 100%. Initial contact with Thunder level 0.01%. Boom! The sound of thunder suddenly reverberated. Su Yang used his palm as a knife. Bolts of lightning with blue lightning appeared on his palm knife, and he threw them into the swimming pool. In an instant, the entire swimming pool seemed to be shrouded in lightning. However, the lightning that shrouded the swimming pool soon disappeared. Not bad. Su Yang's face lit up. In the process of raising his proficiency of the Thunder sword intent to 100%, he had once again obtained a platinum-grade sword technique. His hands itched, so he directly used his palm as a knife and used the Thunder knife technique to slash a few times. He felt that the power was very good. Meow tilde. At this time, little Zai's meow carried a trace of anger. Her small body flickered from the swimming pool and appeared in front of Su Yang. Her purple eyes stared at Su Yang. You weren't in the swimming pool just now, How did this electrocute you? Looking at the hair on little Zai's body, Su Yang chuckled and quickly reached out to pick it up and comfort it. Although little Zai wasn't in the swimming pool just now, she was by the shore. He was struck by the lightning that flashed in the surroundings. The fur on its body was standing on end. However, after being touched by Su Yang a few times, the fur on its body was smoothened. At the same time, Su Yang also bought some spiritual fish from the forum trading area, as well as some other high-quality fish produced in some mystical realms. Only then did its anger subside. After playing with little Zai for a while, Su Yang retracted his thoughts and looked at the water-type blade intent. After thinking for a while, he decided that since he had already perfected the other 3 of his 4 types of blade intent, he could also raise his water-type blade intent to perfection. As such, he directly spent 2.5 million gold coins to increase his water blade Dao's proficiency to 100%. Chapter 119, 119, Chapter 119, a conceptual title, Son of the Wind. A water-type sword Dao proficiency increased. A flowing water/skill level increased. Heart comprehension skill, blue water blade technique, platinum. A water-type blade Dao proficiency has reached 100%. Initial contact with water-type level 0.01%. Perfect. Su Yang chuckled. The 4 types of blade intent that he possessed had finally reached perfection. Fortunately, he had the ability to swallow gold. Otherwise, even with the Demon Slayer blade body, a god-grade saber art talent, he would need to spend a lot of time and effort if he wanted to increase the proficiency of all 4 blade Dao to 100%. However, he looked at his remaining 1 billion gold coins. Then he looked at the condensation of the wind, thunder, and water skills that he had just obtained, which were only at 0.01%. Thinking about it, this 0.01% condensation was too unpleasing to the eye. Thus, Su Yang spent another 30 million gold coins to increase the condensation of the wind, thunder, and water level to 1%. When the condensation of all 3 levels was raised to 1%, Su Yang had also successfully obtained 3 abilities or titles. He checked. The Gale rank gave this special title, the Son of Wind. The Lightning status rank gave him this special title, Lightning King. The Water rank gave him this special title, Water Controller. A Son of Wind. Type, rank title. Effect. You have the power to control the wind at will. The wind will accompany you. The Son of Wind. I feel all right. Su Yang looked at the Son of Wind's information and nodded in satisfaction. Then he looked at the next one. A Lightning King. Type, level title. Effect, able to control the power of lightning. Lightning attacks will be reduced by 90%. The Lightning King was a title similar to the ability given by the fire level. It seems that in heaven, other than the various divine flames, there should also be various special thunderbolts. Su Yang squinted his eyes. He had some guesses about the details in the message. Finally, his gaze fell on the water controller title. Originally, he was just casually looking at it, but when he saw the effects of the water controller title, Su Yang's eyes suddenly shrank. The effect of the title Water Manipulator was somewhat beyond his expectations. Water Controller. Type, level title. Effect. You are the master of water. You will never neglect any conceptualizing matter related to water. Water, the concepts relating to water. What a powerful title ability. Su Yang sighed in his heart. At the same time, he also gradually understood that after his level reached 1%, the ability or title he was given seemed to be random. In other words, even if there were two powerhouses of the same level, the abilities or titles they obtained were very likely to be different. For example, the water controller title was an extremely rare title ability that was related to all the concepts of water. His thoughts returned to the effects of the water controller title. Su Yang thought for a moment and jumped into the pool. Without any movement, his whole body sank quickly. A moment later, he walked out of the swimming pool with a gloomy face. With the interference of the Titan body, the water in the ordinary swimming pool can't feel the effect of the water controller title at all. It seems that I can only try it in the future. Su Yang walked to the shore and lay down on a recliner. He took a sip of the drink that Spirit had prepared and sighed. After that, he looked at the gold coins he had saved up and his level ability. He did not continue to swallow gold. For the time being, he didn't need to urgently increase the level of condensation. A person's status was a crucial deciding factor in condensing a god's body. And condensing the body of a god was something that needed to be considered after platinum grade. Now all he needed to do was to obtain a special ability or title when his level of condensation reached 1%. I should continue to accumulate gold coins. When I reach a platinum grade, I can quickly improve my strength. Su Yang thought for a moment and looked at the other items in the space ring. There were 13 swords and sabers above gold grade, plus the gold long saber given by the Dragon Kingdom yesterday. There were a total of 14 gold-grade sword-type weapons. What made Su Yang a little depressed was that there was not a single platinum-grade sword. However, when he thought about the 3 platinum legendary powerhouses he had encountered, 2 of whom were mages and 1 attacked with his own claws, he felt relieved. He called Heartslayer over and let her devour and absorb all 14 martial gold sword-type weapons to strengthen herself. Heartslayer happily took the weapon from Su Yang, then closed his eyes and began to absorb it. Very quickly, Su Yang could feel a wave of energy being transmitted from the Heartslayer through the natal contract. A life weapon's strength has greatly increased. Received feedback from the weapon's spirit. Acquired a large amount of experience points. Level increased. Current level LV 57. Received 600 free attribute points, 3 divinity points. Level increased. Current level LV 59. Received 600 free attribute points, 3 divinity points. Through the feedback of Heartslayer's natal contract, Su Yang's level increased by 3 levels again. He assigned his free attribute points. The corners of Su Yang's mouth slightly curled up as he looked at the 9 divinity points he had obtained. He had already accumulated 52 godhood points. As long as he had enough divine sparks, he would feel safe. Heartslash had also received a huge upgrade, not only in the strength of the blade. The original effects of his blade had been strengthened, and at the same time, he had obtained some new effects. Su Yang took a quick look at it. The new effect he got was not bad, but there was nothing that made his eyes light up. Thus, he didn't pay much attention to it. He retracted his gaze and looked at the other Wu Pings in his interspatial ring. He had obtained a lot of equipment from the wizard and ghost soldiers. However, most of them were weapons and equipment, and they were only silver rank. Obviously, Su Yang didn't care about these things. As such, he put all these silver weapons and equipment items that he looked down on the trading forum, and automatically sold them at a price 10 to 20% lower than normal silver equipment. A large quantity would fill one's stomach, and it would sell faster. He had to get gold coins as soon as possible. Moreover, it could also help the human professionals on the blue planet increase their strength. Wow, there should be at least 70,000 to 80,000 pieces of equipment, and they're all silver rank. Not only that, but it's also 10 to 20% cheaper than the Love-branded equipment on the market. That's great. Even with the money I saved, I can buy 1 or 2 pieces of armor. Don't you see who's selling it? It's Heavenly Sun. Heavenly Sun is so great. A poor guy like me can actually get silver equipment by chance. The Blue Planet professionals who were browsing the posts on the forum quickly noticed the sudden appearance of a large number of cheap silver equipment on the trading section of the forum. They were extremely excited. Looking again, it was actually sold by Heavenly Sun, and it boiled up even more. Chapter 120, 120, Chapter 120, Stepping into the Undead World. Su Yang had already expected this to happen on the forum, so he didn't pay much attention to it. That was because there was finally an item that attracted his attention and interest while he was sorting out his gains. A secret dungeon Nirvana ancient city, big. Current secret land origin, 100%. Secret land monster level, LV30 LV60. Secret dungeon joint opening count, 100,000/month. Introduction, a secret dungeon without an owner. It was different from the core of the arena dungeon that could form the arena of fate. This was an ownerless, ordinary, large-scale secret dungeon. In the early days of Heaven, the bare-faced industry had obtained a secret dungeon, but it was a small one. Because its value was too low, it was destroyed by his destructive development. Now this secret dungeon was a large-scale secret dungeon. Moreover, it was an ownerless secret dungeon that didn't need to be cleared. Su Yang's current broken stones could be directly bound to become the master of this secret dungeon. However, before that, he checked the situation in this secret dungeon. Inside the secret dungeon was a large city. It was the ancient city of destruction. In the city, there were all kinds of undead monsters and rogues. Outside the city were level 30 silver, undead monsters. The closer they were to the city center, the higher the level of the undead monsters. At the center of the city, in the city lord's mansion, there was a gold grade level 60 boss. Dead spirits, Su Yang said in a low voice as he looked at Zhu Ting not far away. Zhu Ting, what's the difference between the dead spirits and you undead? Dead spirits. Zhu Ting was stunned for a moment before quickly replying. I'm not sure, but dead spirits and us undead are mortal enemies. After an undead kills a dead spirit, not only will it receive a large amount of exp and increase its level, but it will also receive many benefits that are beneficial to the undead. In fact, after some undead kill enough dead spirits, they can easily awaken their previous life's wisdom or awaken new wisdom, becoming a true undead clan. As for the undead race professionals, not only do they gain a lot of experience from killing the dead spirits, but they can also increase the growth potential of the undead race professional. Although they can't reach the level of advanced myth, they may catch up with the advanced overlord. Of course, the dead spirits should get the same benefits from killing the undead. You are sworn enemies. Killing each other can bring great benefits. Su Yang obtained 2 crucial pieces of information from Zhu Ting's words. Looking at the large-scale secret land, dungeon, silent ancient city of destruction, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Perhaps, with the ancient city of destruction, it will be easier for me to obtain the ability of rebirth from the undead race. Su Yang had a vague idea in his mind, but this idea was not too mature for the time being. He needed to personally enter the netherworld and make a decision according to the specific situation. Bind yourself to the ancient city and become the owner of this large-scale secret land dungeon. Su Yang had gained control of the ancient city of silence. After that, he sealed the dungeon of Nirvana ancient city in the magic card and put it away. Only then did he feel at ease. Aside from the secret land dungeon, Nirvana ancient city, there were no other items that could attract his attention. After sorting out his gains, Su Yang used his delusion breaker eyes to check the items. The items that were not of much value to him were all automatically sold in the forum's trading area. After that, he relaxed and rested. He had rested for 2 days, and his body and mind were in high spirits. However, Su Yang also knew that he could not continue to rest. After all, outside of the blue planet, in heaven, there were many more greedy eyes staring at him all the time. He needed to become stronger. In less than a year's time, heaven's protection rules for the new blue planet region would disappear. Before that, he needed to gain enough strength to fight against those greedy people, not only to resist, but also to kill them. As such, after Su Yang tidied up everything, he directly used the illusory fate to hide his own fate trajectory. At the same time, he made up a false information about his destiny trajectory that he was still on the blue planet. After that, he put Ling and Zhu Ting into the magic card, and little Zai back into the pet space. Holding Heart Slayer in his hand, he activated the spatial teleportation array to the netherworld. You have entered the netherworld. Your perfect disguise has allowed the undead world's original consciousness to acknowledge your identity as an undead. The netherworld's professional forum is opening a room for you. Checking. Error message fixing. As a new undead, you can set a title. When Su Yang crossed the spatial teleportation array and entered the netherworld, a notification sounded in his ear. After understanding the notification, the corner of his mouth hidden under the skeleton helmet chuckled. My disguise, coupled with the cover-up of the new and fabricated fate trajectory, actually made the undead world's original consciousness acknowledge my identity as an undead. Interesting. I didn't expect that the netherworld's professional forum would open a room for me. At this moment, Su Yang, who had already transformed into a net of bones, had blue soul fire burning in his eyes as he pondered. The tyrant. Thinking of his current form as the Skeleton King, he immediately gave himself a new title. In the future, when he appeared in the form of the Skeleton King, he would be the tyrant, the undead tyrant. After confirming the new title, Su Yang opened the netherworld's professional forum and checked. The Withered Mountains, the secret realm of the Dark Skeleton, is about to open. Do you want to form a team? I've just awakened. I only know how to do it in my previous life. I'm a newbie of the undead race. Please take me with you, big shot. He took a look and felt that it was similar to the forum on the blue planet. However, Su Yang's blue soul fire-burning eyes flickered when he saw the trending news, calling all the undead dominators from all districts, currently recruiting soldiers to be sent troops to the blue planet in a year. Blue Planet, as the new district of heaven, can actually give birth to a monster like Heavenly Sun. It's definitely not mundane. Everyone, hurry up and participate. An analysis of Heavenly Sun's strength. A video of Heavenly Sun fighting a battle. Su Yang didn't expect that he would still be able to see information about himself even after coming to the netherworld, a place where a group of dead people stayed, especially when he saw that these undead dominators were recruiting soldiers and buying horses to prepare for the war against the Blue Planet in a year. The birthday banquet flickered coldly. It seems that leaving the Blue Planet was the right decision. There's a lot of information that can't be obtained on the Blue Planet. If the netherworld is like this, then the other worlds that have thoughts about me must be the same. A battle on the Blue Planet in a year. HMPH. I have to get stronger as soon as possible. Su Yang couldn't help but feel a sense of urgency. However, he also knew that this could not be rushed. He had to take it slow and steady. This way, he would be able to go higher and further in the future. After checking the Netherworld Forum, Su Yang checked his current location. He had heard about this from Zhu Ting before. However, this was his first time entering the undead, and he was hungry. He had to confirm it first. Soon, he would be able to figure out where he was. In Netherworld Evil I region. It was named after the ruler of this region, a god who ruled the undead. That's a wrap for this installment. Thank you all for watching and supporting Lord of the Stories. If you enjoyed this tale, please hit the like button, share it, and subscribe for more amazing stories. You can also explore other series updated daily in our playlists. Have a fantastic day and see you in the next episode.